think he's overrated?
Who?
Tyrese.
I think he's a very good player.
Do you think he's overrated?
He's a very good player.
Tyrese Haliburton is no scrub. He's not somebody that's overrated like they tried to rate him. He's better than that.
You know, everyone says, oh, Tyrese Haliburton overrated. I don't think so.
In Game 7 of the 2025 NBA Finals, Tyrese Haliburton was robbed of what should have been the most signature moment of his career.
Haliburton's hurt right away when he fell.
The trainer rushes out to take a look, and even a concerned Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is checking on Haliburton.
Oh, you get in a situation like this, you're just sick to your stomach for the young man.
It's heartbreaking to even watch, just a devastating way to end one of the most amazing underdog playoff runs in sports history by one of the sport's newest beloved stars. But hold on, let's rewind, because how did we even get here? Who even is Tyrese Haliburton, and where did he come from? Why did his fellow NBA players vote him the most overrated player in the league just months before going on one of the greatest postseason runs ever? This is the story about one of the most unique stars basketball has ever seen, and how he was on his way to NBA immortality before a terrible injury showed just how heartbreaking sports can be. Tyrese Haliburton was born on February 29, 2000 in Oshkosh, Wisconsin to John and Brenda Haliburton. His father was a former women's basketball coach and basketball referee, so the sport ran in the bloodlines. Haliburton played high school basketball for Oshkosh North High School and was a bit of a late bloomer. He was named to the All-Fox Valley Association's second team and defensive team, and in his junior year, he earned the FVA Player of the Year and averaged 18.6 assists and 5 rebounds. And then 1 year later, as a senior, Hallie led Oshkosh to a 26-1 record, averaging 23.6 assists and 5 rebounds, with a ridiculous 3.7 steals.
I wasn't the kid at the top that was like trying to stay there. I'm the kid that's way at the bottom trying to like chase that.
However, this is where the theme of people doubting Tyrese began. Considered just a 3-star recruit, his home school of Wisconsin never gave him an offer, and that left him with just 5 offers from Power 6 schools. So Haliburton decided to commit to Iowa State University, where, of course, he quickly made a name for himself. His ability to control the game, make the right reads, and shoot efficiently set him apart as a point guard. So after a solid freshman season, Haliburton then exploded as a sophomore. He averaged 15.2 points, 5.9 rebounds, and 6.5 assists per game, shooting over 50% from the field and 40% from 3 for the Cyclones. But once again, NBA scouts had their doubts. Questions about his funky jump shot, wiry frame, and even what his true position would be in the NBA prevented him from going in the top 10 despite being an analytics darling. And so with the 12th overall pick in the 2020 NBA draft, the Sacramento Kings selected him to be part of their future. But let's just say, not for long. Haliburton immediately made an impact in Sacramento. He was named to the NBA All-Rookie First Team, impressing fans and analysts with his high basketball IQ and mature decision-making. His unconventional game raised eyebrows, but the results were kind of hard to argue with. Efficient shooting, smooth passing, and just an exciting overall brand of team-first basketball. But De'Aaron Fox was the Kings' star young point guard, and the team struggled to a 31-41 record that season. So many critics began questioning whether or not the 2 lead guards could coexist on a winning team. And all of that led to this moment. February 8th, 2022, the trade that changed the trajectory of Haliburton's career.
What's the instant reaction around the league to Sacramento trading Tyrese Haliburton?
Stunned. I think Tyrese Haliburton was stunned, Malika. The league is stunned at this trade. And the fact that he was even available. This was a player who everyone had thought, including Tyrese Haliburton, that he'd be the cornerstone for their future.
In a blockbuster move, the Kings traded Haliburton to the Indiana Pacers for all-star big man Domantas Sabonis. Absolutely a respectable return, but the trade was definitely controversial. Many felt like the Kings were giving up on Haliburton too soon. And yeah, it proved to be a gift for the Pacers.
Now Haliburton, he's going to toss it up and hits his first shot as a member of the Pacers. Nice pass, Smith pounds it down.
They trapped it a little bit. What a pass.
Haliburton cutting is Taylor. So it's going to be exciting to see Haliburton and Duarte. Look at that pass.
But he is the prototypical 5 now with that size and quickness.
Oh, look at that pass.
In Indiana, Haliburton flourished. He was handed the keys to the offense and responded by elevating the team's pace and energy. His ability to run the pick and roll, create for teammates, and knock down shots transformed the Pacers into one of the most exciting young teams in the NBA.
I was just playing. Like, I was just out there just trying to play and show who I am, because now I'm getting the opportunity to, I'm the full-time guy. There's nobody else. Like, if I mess up, I'm playing through mistakes more. I'm forced to. I'm being looked at to take game-winning shots, and like, I ain't never been looked at to do that in my life. You know what I mean? I ain't never been asked to do that.
Here's a long three. Haliburton got it! Yeah!
By his second season in Indy, Hallie was an all-star. 20.7 points, 10.4 assists, and nearly 50-40-90 shooting splits vaulted Haliburton into conversations about the NBA's best young guards. But perhaps more importantly, the following year, in the 2023-24 season, the Pacers took the jump as a winning team. Haliburton first led the Pacers to the championship game of the inaugural in-season tournament, including hitting a dagger against the rival Bucks in the semifinals and, pointing to his wrist to mock Bucks star Damian Lillard's Dame Time celebration. And then just a few months later, he led the Pacers past the Bucks once again in the first round of the playoffs, before knocking off the Knicks, the Pacers' longtime franchise rival, in the second round to bring Indiana to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in a decade. And while the Pacers there got swept by the eventual champion Celtics, it was clear what makes Haliburton special isn't just the numbers. It's the way he carries himself, the way he plays with joy, the contagious energy that fuels his team. Everything was looking bright for the Pacers, but as always, not everybody saw it. On December 18th, 2022, New York Knicks analyst Wally Szczerbiak called Tyrese Mr. Wannabe Fake All-Star after Haliburton's missed shot against the Knicks that night. The following year, Haliburton would have a great game in a win against the Knicks, which spawned a stare down from Haliburton to Szczerbiak on the sidelines. Since then, Szczerbiak has said that he regretted those comments, but he's not been the only one to question whether Tyrese Haliburton is a superstar caliber player in the NBA. Many analysts over the years have had this discussion, with some arguing in favor of Haliburton's game.
I have not known him long enough, but I do know that he's potentially a superstar.
Well, I mean,
no.
probably take the potential off.
While others were just not convinced he's a true best player on a championship team. What sparked further debate was the fact that Haliburton was not selected for the 2025 All-Star team after a slow start to the season, especially coming off a summer riding the bench for Team USA in the Paris Olympics. But the culmination of the discussion surrounding Haliburton's game came to a head in April 2025 when an anonymous NBA player poll by The Athletic voted Haliburton the most overrated player in the league.
There was an anonymous player poll that came out and the players voted Tyrese as the most overrated player in the league. He's been candid about
it. I heard about this, and the other guys on the list were Jimmy Butler and Giannis. All right, and I want to see the guys' faces that voted those guys.
Kind of wild, but despite an overwhelming amount of criticism, Haliburton looked at the debate around him as a gift.
Not too worried about that. I know I am. I'm confident in my own skin.
This began the Tyrese Haliburton Revenge Tour, aka the 2025 playoffs. Entering the 2025 postseason, few expected the Pacers to be true title contenders. While they had a solid regular season record and a promising core, the Eastern Conference was stacked with talent. The Milwaukee Bucks, led by Giannis Antetokounmpo, had once again positioned themselves as a legitimate threat to end the Pacers' season. The series kicked off in Indiana. Haliburton dropped 10 points and dished out 12 assists to give the Pacers a 1-0 lead, despite the trash talk Hallie heard on the sidelines. After splitting games 2 and 3, Haliburton dropped a ridiculous 15 assists in game 4 on the road to take a commanding 3-1 series lead, with the series heading back to Indy for a pivotal game 5. And this was Haliburton's signature game of the series. With the Pacers looking to put the Bucks away for good, Haliburton scored 26 points and had the timeliest points of the game, With 10 seconds left, Haliburton drove for a dunk that would help send the game into overtime and complete an unlikely Pacers comeback. And then in overtime, the Pacers would go on an 8-0 run with 34 seconds left to cap off an absolutely incredible comeback, and Haliburton put the exclamation point on it with a drive to the hoop to win the game.
Haliburton, 5 seconds, 4 seconds, Haliburton for the lead, 1.3 to go.
Because Haliburton still had a lot more to prove when the Pacers met the first seed Cleveland Cavaliers in the second round. And he wasted no time, racking up 22 points and 13 assists in game 1 as the Pacers shocked a shorthanded Cavs team to go up 1-0. But his moment of the series came in game 2. The Pacers were down 14 points to start the fourth, but just like in that Bucks game and what Hallie has done his entire career, he just never gave up. The Pacers stormed all the way back on the road, and then with 9 seconds left, Haliburton silenced the crowd.
Carlisle's gonna let him play. Haliburton steps back and hits. Tyrese Haliburton trying to take Cleveland's heart.
What can we say? Mr. Clutch did it again. And the Pacers would go on to win the series with Haliburton dropping 31 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists in Game 5 to send the Cavs home and the Pacers to the conference finals for the second straight year. Clearly, the overrated moniker didn't affect the rising star, but a date with the New York Knicks, Indiana's longtime franchise rivals, would be another proving ground for Tyrese Haliburton. And once again, the Pacers were the underdogs going into the series. Want to guess what happens in Game 1? Once again, the Pacers had their backs against the wall. The Knicks had a commanding 14-point lead with just 3 minutes left in regulation, and then the voodoo magic kicked in.
Haliburton with 27 the other way with a screen from Shepherd. He'll roll and he'll find the defensive heart. Nesmith 3, good, got it.
Aaron Nesmith hit 6 3-pointers to bring the Pacers back from the brink. Even then, the Knicks were still up by 7 points with 1 minute left before Haliburton sent the game to overtime with one of the craziest shots you will ever see.
And Haliburton, he'll take it, he'll backpedal, a 3 for the win, and goal! He got it!
Andrew Nembhard then scored 7 points on his own in overtime as the Pacers would wind up once again stealing a Game 1 on the road and winning the series. Haliburton was magical all Eastern Conference Finals long, capped off by a historic Game 4 performance with 32 points, 12 rebounds, 15 assists, and 0 turnovers. So, yeah, you'd think the Eastern Conference Finals MVP would go to Tyrese, right? Nope. The MVP award went to his teammate Pascal Siakam, who was great in his own right, leading the team in scoring. But this just felt like the world kept on doubting Hallie. The 2025 Oklahoma City Thunder were the heavy favorites to win the NBA Finals, with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the league MVP, leading the charge. In fact, at -700 odds, they were the second heaviest favorites in Finals history, trailing only the 2018 Warriors. But if you haven't learned by now, Haliburton and this Pacers team just didn't care. And if you haven't learned by now, this Pacers team is the most dangerous, facing a big deficit in Game 1s. The Thunder raced out to a 12-point halftime lead in Game 1 in front of a roaring OKC crowd, but slowly Indiana began pulling back, and then all of a sudden, Nesmith hit a 3, then Nembhard hit a 3, then Siakam hit a layup, and then Shai, the MVP, missed a short jumper, leading to this moment.
Haliburton looking, Haliburton driving, pulls off, jump shot, it's good! It's good! With 3/10 of a second remaining! Timeout, OKC!
Bucket. Haliburton and his voodoo magic did it again, and now the Pacers had stolen home court. The rest of the series would be a back and forth slugfest. Game 2 would see the Thunder retaliating for a dominant 123-107 win, but as always, the Pacers answered right back with a 9-point win in Game 3 at home. Haliburton dropped a near triple-double with 22 points, 9 rebounds, and 11 assists. Shai then scored 35 points in Game 4 to steal back home court advantage for the Thunder, and another 31 in Game 5. And this game is where the magic started to fade. Haliburton had his worst game of the series with just 4 points and strained his calf, an injury that would lead to more national discussion and an ominous few days before Game 6 with Hallie's status up in the air.
Malika, sources tell me Pacers star Tyrese Haliburton is dealing with right calf tightness, and so he went out to the locker room during the first half and then returned to the game. But remember, this is the same right leg that he limped off with after game 2 with what was described to me as ankle soreness last week. But it's the same leg, now it's right calf tightness. But listen, it's the NBA Finals. He's going to want to play through anything, and he's going to continue to try to play through it in the second half.
Look, if this was the regular season, Hallie would have been out for weeks. But this was the NBA Finals, and the Pacers didn't come all this way to just give up. This was the moment Haliburton had always dreamed of as a kid in Wisconsin. With his calf on fire and backs against the wall, Haliburton toughed it out in Game 6, and once again, the Pacers refused to go away. Haliburton scored 12 points in the first half and led the Pacers to a blowout victory to force the two best words in sports, Game 7. Think about this moment. 2 months ago, the Pacers were the 4th seed in the East, and at best, analysts thought they could win, maybe one playoff series. Their star was called Overrated, and now they were in prime position to prove all the doubters wrong and win the most improbable championship ring of all time. And in the first few minutes of Game 7, it looked like Haliburton was ready to take over and prove the critics wrong once and for all. He hit 3 threes in the first 7 minutes and just looked unguardable. And then, with 5:03 on the clock, Haliburton caught the ball and drove left.
Good contest from Dort. Haliburton falls down. He looks hurt. Here comes SGA the other way. Inside, and Williams throws it down. Haliburton's hurt right away when he fell.
Devastation. You could see it in Haliburton's eyes immediately. Playing through that calf strain from Game 5 led him to tearing his Achilles and ending his season. There's no doubt about it, an Achilles tear is one of the toughest injuries for a basketball player. But still in his mid-20s, Haliburton's best basketball is likely ahead of him still. With a max extension already signed, Haliburton has made it clear that his focus is on the Pacers and moving forward. So what can we learn from this story? Tyrese Haliburton may not be the loudest name in the NBA, but he's quickly becoming one of its most respected. Despite the critics around him, the unorthodox game, and a fiery personality, there's no denying his basketball IQ and his willingness to perform with the game on the line. Injuries suck. What are you gonna do? But given the way the Pacers bounce back time and time again during their iconic run to the finals, we have a sneaky feeling Haliburton himself will bounce back too.